What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Cubby Perspective. My name is Andrew. I'm a podcast for the fans, by the fans. Cubs win big today, 10-6 win over the Texas Rangers, going for the series sweep tomorrow at 12:10 Central. So be there or be square. Cubs improved their record to 9-6 on the season. They still have first place custody in the NL Central, so let's keep it that way. Some late game heroics by Dansby Swanson. We have a lot to talk about, so let's dive into it. Let's just take a second to show some love to Dansby Swanson. Dansby Swanson has been under a lot of criticism over his course of time with the Chicago Cubs. His first two seasons with the Cubs, he did not live up to those offensive expectations, which led to a lot of criticism. No one really knew Dansby Swanson was going to go or had that core problem this offseason. He ended up getting that surgery, fully healthy in spring training. And to start the season so far, Dansby Swanson has truly been lights out. Swanson has 4 homers already to start the early 2025 campaign to go along with 11 RBIs. So he really has been that rock in the Cubs lineup, batting 5th in that order. I think Dansby Swanson has finally found a place in this lineup. Batting 5th in this lineup takes away some pressure and alleviates some pressure off of him. He's no longer batting in the top of that order where you are expected to put up big knocks, but Craig Counsell moved him down to that 5th slot in the lineup, and he's truly making some noise in that spot. So I think Dansby Swanson has really found himself a home in that 5th place in the batting order. Dansby Swanson led off the game today with the home run. It was a moonshot to left field and may have cleared the actual wall. I could be wrong in that, but it was damn near close. Dansby Swanson also late in the bottom of the 8th inning had a clutch single, a 2-run single to put the Cubs ahead at 8-6. Followed up by PCA, who extended the lead 10-6. And everyone knows the Cubs bullpen has not been that great to start the season, so we needed as many runs as possible. And Dansby also has improved his OPS, and his OPS is now sitting over 860 on the season, which is absolutely phenomenal. That's getting into, superstar, well above average OPS on the season. So if Dansby Swanson can keep those numbers up, the Cubs are going to be in for a very long, fun season, especially with already Suzuki, Happ, and Tucker in the lineup. All right, I do got to show my Cubbies some love for that 4th inning when the Cubs are on offense. Beautifully executed plays all around. So Dansby Swanson, sacrifice fly to center field. Third baseman tags up to come home. Cubs cut the lead from 2-0 to 2-1, right? On same play, Suzuki tags up to third. Justin Turner tags up to second. Nico Horner, next batter up, drills a single up the middle. Cubs take the lead 3-2 on the game. That's signs of an offense to me clicking on all cylinders. That is, the Cubs are not looking for that pretty hit no more. They are fundamentally smooth going into this season, really. You don't always need those hits in the gap or those homers over the bleachers, right? You don't need that. What the Cubs need to do is they need to be a fundamentally sounded offense, and they got to do the right things at the right moments. Dansby Swanson putting that ball into play, not only scored the runner, but ended up moving the 2 runners over on a base to allow Nico Horner to be in a situation where now he can drive in both of those runs, which he did. So hats off to you boys. If the Cubs keep this up the way they are playing, this season will be a blast. I promise you that. Has PCA finally come out of his shell, and is he going to continue to hit the ball better and look better at the plate moving forward? I think that's very possible. I think you're starting to see PCA gain some confidence. I think you're starting to see him have a nice awareness of the strike zone. His timing looks a lot better. So look for PCA to do better. PCA has 4 stolen bases over the past 3 games, which is absolutely incredible. If PCA continues to get in runners in scoring position, that's going to set up Matt Shaw to drive him in, as well as people at the bottom of that lineup. Obviously, the Cubs can't just be a top-heavy lineup the entire season. The bottom half of the order is going to have to produce, which they have been. And if PCA hasn't been doing anything, and the bottom half of the lineup has been producing as it is. So if PCA actually starts adding to this offense, then look out. Look out. The offense is going to continue to do what they're doing. That's put up many runs a game. PCA had 3 base knocks today, as well as three more base knocks over the last 3 games. So PCA has been hitting the ball well. Look for PCA to continue this stretch. He has not been slugging the ball well. He's not been hitting for power. But at this point, I will take some base knocks for PCA, because that's just going to give him confidence. And, sooner rather than later, you are going to see PCA drive the ball with some authority, as well as get those power numbers up and hit some balls out of Wrigley, as well as some other ballparks in the league. Seiya Suzuki also had a really good game today, going 3 for 4 with a run, 2 RBIs, a walk, batting .750 with an .800 on base in the game today. Seiya Suzuki has been a rock all year. Not that this really has anything to do with actual MLB, but Seiya Suzuki is ranked number 11th in fantasy sports, so that goes to show the type of season that Seiya is having. If Seiya Suzuki can continue this stretch and stay at this consistent level of play that he has been, you're going to see a monster season from Suzuki. All right, I just want to talk about how important Seiya Suzuki is to this Cubs lineup. Obviously, the Cubs have Kyle Tucker, and they have some other players who are hitting very well at the moment. But Seiya Suzuki especially, I want to talk about his meaning to this Cubs lineup. Typically, Seiya Suzuki bats behind Kyle Tucker in the order, right? And that means something very, very great if you guys don't know. Seiya Suzuki, yes, he is the third hitter in the lineup. He batted second today, but typically you will see a majority in that third spot. And that's such an important spot to be in the Cubs lineup, if not the most important spot to be in the lineup, even with Tucker batting second, is because Seiya Suzuki is Kyle Tucker's pillow. He is his cushion blanket, and he is going to determine the type of at-bat that Kyle Tucker has. If Seiya Suzuki is not playing well, he's not playing at a consistent level, and he's not driving the ball, knocking in runs, and getting on base, that will affect Kyle Tucker's level of play. Simple as this. All right, so you have Kyle Tucker typically batting before Seiya Suzuki, right? So that kind of determines what type of pitches Kyle Tucker will get. If you have Seiya Suzuki batting behind Tucker and Seiya Suzuki struggling and he's almost an automatic out, then a pitcher will not have to pitch to Kyle Tucker, because then they just pitch around Kyle Tucker to get the easy out in Seiya Suzuki. But if Suzuki is playing the way he has been playing, that's going to make Kyle Tucker 10 times better, because it deepens the lineup, and he's that cushion, he's that emergency blanket for Kyle Tucker, really. Kyle Tucker will see pitches to hit more often if Suzuki is playing at a good level, and that's all it is. Without Suzuki hitting well, like I said before, Kyle Tucker will get pitched around, and he will not be given opportunities to drive in runs. But because Suzuki is pitching well, that is elevating Kyle Tucker to a level that we have seen before, but it's pretty ridiculous. He's number 1 in fantasy. He has the most hits in baseball. He has the most runs in baseball, the most and RBIs in baseball. He's playing at an extremely elite level, and that partially has to do with Seiya Suzuki. So Seiya Suzuki needs to keep it up. Seiya Suzuki no longer has to worry about the outfield, so that's not on his mind anymore. He no longer has to worry about getting injured in the outfield. All he has to do is focus on batting, and I think that's paying dividends to start the early campaign in 2025. Last but not least, we have to talk about Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon pitched a beautiful game tonight. He got off to a shaky start, but he ended up bouncing back. He ended up working deep into this game and really, really pitching a great game. Jameson Taillon had 6 innings pitched today, 6 strikeouts, 4.5 ERA, 1.0 whip, and 1 quality start. This is also Jameson Taillon's second consecutive start with the quality start, so he's really pitching well right now. And he's also not allowing himself to be rattled early on. Early on in the game, JMO got off to a shaky start. He gave up 2 runs, super early. And typically the old JMO would have been rattled. He would have continued to pitch poorly, and ultimately he would not have won the game. But this is a different year. This is a different buzz for this team. And you saw JMO truly, truly battle and grind throughout the entire game. Ultimately ended up pitching a very good game. Maybe you could credit that to Tommy Hotovy. I just think the Cubs, I truly credit that to the Cubs culture that this team has built around them. The Cubs are not playing around this year. They are looking like a real threat to go deep in this playoffs. They are looking like a lock to win the NL Central early on. So I think that's overall paying dividends to a bunch of players because, number one, winning is contagious. When you're winning, you want to keep winning. When your pitching staff is pitching well, you want to continue to pitch at that level as well as offense. So shout out to you, Jameson Taillon. Keep pitching the way you're doing, and we love you in Chicago. All right, if you guys watched my preview for the game today, I told you guys about a parlay kind of segment that I will be working on and dishing out to you guys on a daily basis. I just want to talk about what I told you guys to bet. And, so close, but no cigar. I had Dansby Swanson hitting a homer, which was a lock. I had Kyle Tucker 2 total bases, which was a lock. I had JMO over 4.5 strikeouts, which was a lock. And I had Nico Hoerner at 2 total bases, which almost was a lock. Nico Hoerner only recorded 1 bag on the game. So ultimately, that bet didn't hit. But if it did hit, $5 would have won you $120. So I was almost there. So if you guys continue to want to see me drop some parlays, please like, comment, and share. Drop down in the comments whether or not you guys want to see that. And we will definitely go from there. Thank you for watching my video. If you guys like what you're seeing, like, share, subscribe, and comment on the videos. I'm open for all sort of comments. If you guys want me to change something specific about these videos, then please tell me. I'm all ears. I'm always trying to better myself and this podcast. So I just want to thank you guys for being so supportive. I've and like I said in previous videos, I have a great foundation of friends around me who are really supporting me through this and helping out tremendously. So until next time, keep the faith, go Cubs, and I am the Cubby Perspective.